Hey Scorpio, what's going on? We are here with a timeless reading. All right, I'm seeing Nine of Swords and I'm seeing Eight of Pentacles. Nine of Swords and Eight of Pentacles, you may be at the point where there's something that you're working on. But you could be feeling a bit overwhelmed at this point in time. This can also be to stuff with like your mental health that you're focusing on as well. Nine of Swords could also just be something that's like temporarily bothering you, where you're like, I have this thing going on and it's stressful for me, or like maybe you're not getting enough sleep or something like that. But I'm still like showing up and doing my work, because having Eight of Pentacles be here, it would show that regardless of what's going on mentally for you or like emotionally for you, that like maybe something's a little bit rocky, but as far as you showing up to like do your work, whatever that is, like whatever you're currently working on, you're still very much doing that and showing up. So we're starting off with this. This means that you are soon to get information. If you have been waiting to hear something, if you've been waiting on information, waiting to hear from somebody, waiting for an answer, waiting for clarification, the information that comes through, this is going to be something that it's meant to like give you an answer or an understanding. To have it be swords, it's like information that you're going to be receiving. You're about to be getting this, okay? And if you're not expecting it, somebody is soon to reach out to you. Something along the lines of that. Some of you, this is work related. Some of you may not be work related. Okay, so I'm seeing the Knight of Wands come out too. Some of you have two different people coming through. Some of you it's just one. Things are definitely moving though. This has to do with a current investment I'm seeing, but you could have felt like something was blocked or something wasn't moving. You could have felt like you needed this piece in order to sort of continue with what you're doing. Like there was, what I'm seeing is that you could have felt like there was something that, it's like you're playing chess and it's not your move, and so you have to wait for like the other side to make the move in order for things to continue. So I'm seeing that you could have felt like there was something being halted, or there being a pause or something like that, that you had to wait for this to come in order to then keep going with something. And before that, it's like you couldn't really move forward with something, so it was just like staying still is what I'm seeing. What your test sort of is you being patient, waiting for this to come through. But it looks to me like you're not going to have to be like patient much longer, that this is about to come through for you. But it could have been something that you were like waiting for, that type of thing. And you could have had to like stop yourself too, because again, like say you're playing chess, metaphorically speaking, you could have been like, oh, I'm getting so tired of waiting, like I want to make the next move already. And there could have been this part of you that felt like, I don't care if they haven't made their next move, I'm going to make my next move. But it's like you needed to wait. So I'm seeing that you could have felt like, how much longer am I going to have to wait for this, like really tapping your foot here. But I'm seeing it was just about you sort of like being patient and allowing for this to come through. And it does. Okay? So if you're in this period now where you're tapping your foot, this is your guide saying you just need to be patient. Do not move forward with something yet. You need to wait for this piece to come through. And it very much is coming through too. And you can just relax in the meantime. I'm seeing you don't need to be doing anything. It's their move, it's not yours. So just keep that in mind. Okay, you're also dealing with some stuff too. So you have your own stuff to deal with as you're waiting for this. Maybe you're feeling disappointed about something. I'm seeing there be like, may feel disappointed about something, but also we have the Nine of Pentacles here too. So it's like, but also some things are like going really well, but you may just be feeling a bit like you got a lot going on. This can also be too, you moving through something in one area of your life where it may be like a more difficult time, but then in another area of your life, like things are going really well and you're sort of just dealing with all of this simultaneously. I'm seeing something be stressful about like a message or a conversation about feelings. Yeah, it seems like you could have felt hurt about something. Having Three of Swords and having the Empress, there's a double three here. Having Three of Swords and having the Empress can mean pain that's associated with the way that you express things that you care about. So just like an example, okay, this is going to be connected with your Venus and how you express that. So if you have a Venus that's connected with, what would be a good example for this? Let's say that you have a Sagittarius Venus. Something may have happened where you were expressing something that feels important to you. Like what's important to a Sagittarius Venus? It can be like knowledge about something. It can be being in a position where like you're teaching or doing something like important to one that's associated with the Sagittarian energy, and having somebody then like say something or do something hurtful that's connected with that, connected with what you value and also how you value showing up too. Because the Empress is like our gift to the world. And so let's say you have like Taurus Venus, you're into like making music or you're into cooking food, and then you have somebody be like, I hate the way that you cook. It's like, it's something like this that has to do with like your individual like power and how you express yourself, like the things that matter, because Venus is about like the things that we birth and create and sort of like give to the world, and we feel empowered when we do that because it's aligned with our values and also our natural state of giving, and like how we sort of take in stuff going on in the world and then express ourselves in some way. And feeling hurt, something happened where you may have felt hurt connected with that, and it may have had you feeling like you wanted to like hold back or not express yourself then. Like you see how in this card it's like kind of like tucking yourself away. So this can mean that like instead of following this thing that I'm passionate about or expressing myself in this way, or like this thing that I love to do, or like this gift that I have, because I felt hurt by some type of experience that I had, I wanted to like hold back or hide it away or not share it, not express it. Or like I didn't want to give love. Like it really just depends on what the Empress is for you. Yeah, I'm seeing something about healing here. because it's something, because the Empress is something that you care about, it's a sensitive spot. So it's a spot where you feel vulnerable, especially to like people saying things about this, because it's kind of like you think about somebody that is very, has like something that's really important to them. Like traditionally we think of like archetypal, like a certain cultural like feminine figure, right, where it's like the way that they give is to like cook food for people, and that's like their love language. Like every time you go to the person's house, them being like are you hungry, can I make you something, like keeping you fed, that's like their way of saying like I love you and I care about you. To then like have something happen where a person feels like pain that's associated with that, with this thing that's like, this is my love language and this is how I express myself, or this is how I like add my touch of beauty into the world, my self-expression that makes me feel empowered because that's something that I'm authentically connected with. To have there be pain that's connected with that, to have Four of Swords and the Empress between, it's like there's healing that's being done in order for somebody to like reconnect with their empowered energy so they can start doing that thing again where they may have felt like pulling away. Like if it's going to be criticized or if that's going to make me vulnerable to pain, like maybe I'm not going to do that anymore, so I'm going to like stop cooking or so, whatever this is for a person. Yeah. I'm seeing that this definitely hit the ego. I'm seeing Five of Swords come out. So this is something that you may still feel resentment over. Because ultimately, like why it hurts the ego is because this is the thing that we want to be validated for and that we want to be recognized for. So to not only not be recognized within that, but to be hurt in that way, where it's not only like, oh, they didn't see me in that way, but something like painful on top of that happened, of course somebody's going to feel triggered. But that's why I'm seeing there be like this healing that is happening, that's being invested in, so one can sort of like reconnect. But I'm seeing right now like the block to healing is the heaviness that one is feeling still about like the anger and animosity that's connected directly with the pain, the painful event. Which I feel too, like it's important that this comes up and also makes sense as well, right? Because Scorpio is connected with an energy that can be so deeply in touch and just like bottomless when it comes to how deeply we feel things and understand things. And so to be so sensitive and then to experience something that feels painful, of course your ego is going to be triggered. But you may feel at this point like it becomes a little bit uncontrollable. And there can also be this part of you that's like judging yourself too for needing to sort of like recover from this as well. Like there's this part of you that's like, hey, I really need to recharge, or I really need to like get back to myself here. And Five of Swords can be this part of you that's like, am I being judged for like needing to heal from this? Am I ultimately like judging myself too, which this comes back down to? There's like a rearranging mentally, it seems, that's happening as well. You could have felt too that somebody said something in a careless way to you and that it brought something up that has you, it's like it could have, it was like a soft spot that you had already, it seems, and you could have felt like somebody was like poked you right in that spot. It's like the way that somebody delivered something to you, and you could have felt like it was lacking tact in some way, or was it was lacking maybe like empathy or something like that when this person communicated with you. And it would have been like harsh the way that they did it. So I'm seeing you be in a spot where you're sort of like taking that in, and I'm seeing you trying to transmute energy here. And there can also be this part of you that wants to like act back towards this person, like be reactive because of feeling upset and still being in the process of processing that, because you felt like in a way it like disempowered you, like what was communicated. But instead it looks like you're actually going to turn around and be like, I'm not going to be empowered by doing that. I'm going to be empowered by investing in things that I enjoy doing rather than focusing on this thing that feels like it's bringing me further down. And you may even be like taking a break or pulling away from the situation. However, I'm seeing like the challenge or like the block that you're facing that's associated with actually pulling back from this is that part of you that's like, I want revenge from it. Like, I want to do something now. It's like that part of you that wants to like say something back or like get back, that really like resentful part of you. Which is like also associated with Scorpio too, right? Like all of the signs have their different ways of when we're hurt, like the ways that we lash back. And Scorpio is associated with the scorpion. So it's about like wanting to come through and sting this person in some way, probably through some type of psychological way. Because that's usually the way of working through and impacting someone. Because you probably have also spent time, whoever this person is that communicated this thing with you that hurt you, that like about their delivery and you feeling like they just said this thing and it was careless. You have already sized this person up, and so you know that you could do damage here, but I'm seeing you like trying not to. But I'm also seeing you're like, it's like this part of you that sort of wants to Hulk out here because it's connected with your ego and because it feels very hurt. And you have to also remember too, like traditionally you're ruled by Mars. And Mars is a planet of like war and fighting. And so when something is impacting you and you feel wounded in some way, your immediate response is going to be like, how do I fight back? Like, how do I, how do I defend myself? How do I then like assert my power? So that's like basically what's happening here. And that's just like the nature of things too. But I'm seeing you try to get to a spot where you're like, it's like the Hulk trying to come out and you being like, I don't know if I can like chain it down. But this is just about you spending time processing through this and not being reactive right now. Even if there's this part of you that's like, I just need to, it's about taking this step back so you can tend to this part of yourself, because really it just needs to be cared for. Because there's nothing wrong or bad with your ego feeling triggered right now. It's natural for that to be happening. Your ego is like doing its job actually, so there's really nothing, like everything is functioning properly, but you are not your ego. So it's about recognizing that you do have control over what happens here, and that it's time to be like why did this get to me? Like where is this like sensitivity coming from? Like why did I feel so hurt by that? And like getting to the bottom of it psychologically for you, rather than taking this person down psychologically or breaking them down psychologically, because really it has nothing to do with them. This is about you turning it inward and being like, what's going on with me? Like, let me break this down. Like, why do I feel so triggered by this? What is this bringing up for me? And you use it as something that's going to benefit you because you're getting to know yourself more through this situation rather than creating harm. You're transmuting this into like light and awareness and more self-knowledge and understanding, which is going to increase your power and your empowerment. I'm seeing Sagittarius and I'm seeing Venus here. Prioritize what feels important to you and know that it's your choice what you're holding on to as well. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.